everyone, thank you for joining me today. I'm Karina and I'll be guiding today's Monday yoga session. Today we'll be focusing on hip opening stretches. A lot of the time when we're working from home or seated for long periods of time, our hip flexors get really tight and we store a lot of our stress in our hips as well. So I'll guide you along some basic stretches that are easy to do from home, and even if you're not flexible, you're feeling stiff, you can use the help of yoga blocks, books, or a pillow, and I'll show you how. So let's start. So standing on your mat, normally we would face the front of our mat on all four corners of our feet, but I'll be facing towards you so you can see clearly. We'll start off with our bent knee ragged doll. So a ragged doll is as if we are reaching down to touch our toes, but actually and folding from our hips. But from here instead, we're going to bend our knees, take a hold of our elbows gently, and our crown of our head pointing towards the mat. Make sure your knees are not leaning too forward, just gently bent. And from here, sway from side to side gently, feeling your spine lengthening. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Great. So ragged bent leg pose, or ragged doll bent leg pose, is a way to create relaxation and also a bit of blood flow to the head if you've been seated for long periods of time or maybe lying down for a long time. And it's very gentle on your body and your lower back and your hips, just to get comfortable with swaying and movement. No particular intention or particular style. Follow what feels best for you at the given time, and you'll naturally feel more relaxed as you sway and dangle your arms or hold onto your elbows. And from here, we're entering Warrior 1 and Warrior 2. Right foot to the front of the mat, left foot extended back, parallel to the line of the mat. Scoop in your tailbone, roll your shoulders back, lean forward with your knees 90 degrees, no further than your toes, and slightly pull out your legs, externally rotate your thighs so that they're not falling inwards. And as you tuck in your tailbone, also engage your core. And if you feel comfortable, extend your back leg further. And from here, Warrior 1, extend your arms, pointing to opposite sides of the room, making sure that one is not too high or one is not too low. Find that middle ground, or middle air space, and roll your shoulders back, tucking in your tailbone, and lean forward. And now we're actually on Warrior 2. Warrior 1 would be facing forwards in this way with our fingertips facing to the ceiling. And our Warrior 2 is when our arms are extended, pointing to opposite sides of the room. And the way that this helps our hip flexors is, as you can see, our legs are away from the midline. And we're also engaging our quads. I'd say stay here for 5 breaths. Inhale, exhale, release. And from here, you can also forward into a mid-split, but you don't have to go all the way. Making sure your back is flat, palms together to heart center. And in this position, you shouldn't feel like your feet are pulling away. You should feel the sensation as if you are pulling inwards. This is strengthening also while you are working on flexibility. Again, follow what feels best for you. Inhale. Whew. And from here, we're going to enter Anjaneyasana low lunge with our right foot still at the front of the mat. And from here, our left foot turns to face the front of the mat into a lunge. Sweep your arms up, facing to the sky. Knees hovering, left knee hovering above the mat. And you will feel the stretch in your hip flexors. Again, double checking, scoop in your tailbone. So it's not necessarily about trying to go as far as possible. It's really finding that form that you're engaging your core, tailbone tucked in, hips are square facing forwards, not too out on either side. So you can find your balance as well. And from here, lower your left knee to the mat, untuck your toes, take your right hand and take a hold of your left foot. This is a great stretch for your quad. And you can use your left hand to balance. Try not to hunch and try not to arch too much. It will naturally feel quite tight, so gently ease into the stretch, and over time, your mind and your body will follow. And gently release. Raise your arms up to the sky, lift up from the mat, and from here, step forward to the front of the mat, into Tadasana Mountain Pose. Again, tucking in your tailbone, rolling your shoulders back. And from here, left foot to the front of the mat, right foot to extend back. So we can do our left side as well. And from here, we're going to go into Warrior One. Again, 90-degree angle in your left knee, knee above your ankle. Externally rotate your thigh. And enter Warrior Two. Making sure that your knees are not going over your toes. Extend your arms. And from here, we will enter our Anjaneyasana low lunge. So rotate your right foot, extended leg to face the front of the mat. So both your feet are facing forwards at this time. And lower your knee to the mat and untuck your toe. If you feel like it's too much strain on your knees, place a pillow or towel or any clothing to buffer and cushion your knee. And from here, place your right hand to the mat as support. Left hand to take a hold of your right ankle or foot. Facing the left side of your body or behind you, or you can face forwards if your neck is feeling a bit tight today. And sometimes I like to have a little smile or grin, bringing joy to the stretch and the practice. Sometimes it's less uncomfortable or strenuous when you smile. And gently release. And from here, we'll bring our left foot back and we will sit on Virasana Warrior Pose just to reset for a moment. And we'll enter one of my favorite asana poses, Balasana, Child's Pose. This is also great for your hip flexors, and both your knees should be facing the top parts, the top corners of your mat. And from here, fold forwards, reaching out, extending your arms. And from here, breathe about 5 breaths. Releasing any tension, any stress. And gently lift up. And from here, we're going to enter Eka Pada Padottanasana, Pigeon Pose. Pigeon Pose is a way to show you how tight you might be on your glutes, but it's also a great way to progressively stretch out your glutes and your hip flexors. This personally has helped me a lot with de-stressing and releasing tension. So placing your right foot at the front of the mat, instead of toes facing forward as we did in our warrior or in our low lunge, this time our shin is going to be parallel to the front of the mat. And from here, our left foot will extend and we will lift off into a one-legged pigeon. And you'll see that there may be a gap here, depending how tight your glutes and your hamstrings feel on the day. And as you slowly ease into the stretch, make sure that your hips are square so that you're not leaning onto one side like this. You really ideally would like to be square. And if it is too much of a strain on your hamstrings or glutes, gently bring your feet closer to you so the stretch can look like this. And over time, progressively, bring your shin parallel to the front of the mat. If you are feeling quite tight and you're feeling that you need some assistance, you can use a yoga block and place it underneath your right hamstring and glute, so it's less strenuous. Making sure not to hunch over and not to arch back. Engaging your core so that you can also support your back. Okay, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and we'll do the left side of our body. And you'll find that both sides are a bit unequal. You might be more flexy on one side than the other. Naturally, if you're right-handed, your left side may be tighter. So again, left shin parallel to the front of the mat. Right foot extended behind. And then we lower. Making sure that your shoulders are not sinking in or your neck is not sinking in like this. Really roll your shoulders back. Supporting, sitting up proud, chest shining forward, making sure to square your hips. Even if there's a gap between the mat and your hamstrings, that's all right, as you gently ease into the stretch. And from here, gently release. And hug your knees towards your chest. And we'll enter Baddha Konasana, Butterfly Asana Pose. So probably when you were in school as a kid, during playtime or PE, this is probably quite a familiar sitting pose. Great for your hips and opening your hip flexors. So feet together, soles of your feet facing each other, almost as if they're in prayer, just like your hands sometimes. And from here, roll your shoulders back, place your hands on your feet or your ankles, and gently ease your way, ease your knees closer to the ground. For some of you, it might feel quite tight today, and maybe this is only as far as you can go, and that is all right. And if you're feeling quite flexy and your knees can touch the mat, go ahead, enjoy that stretch. You'll find that sometimes first thing in the morning you might feel a little bit tight on the hips. So usually before these stretches it'd be good to do a warm-up. Or you gently ease. This is also a great stretch that you can do while in bed before you start the day. And try not to flutter your legs pretending to be a butterfly because it's actually not so healthy on your hips. You want to gently ease the stretch and let gravity push its way down onto your knees and your legs. And these hip flexors are great because they feel like a release and you feel the effects of it after the stretch. I'd say sit here in butterfly for 2 minutes. Make sure that you're not hunching your back. Keep it straight, and keep it straight by engaging your core. So you really feel tense here. That's how you hold yourself up. And roll your shoulders back. And from here, close up your legs like you're closing a book, or the butterfly is going to sleep. And from here, sit in easy seated position, Sukhasana, cross-legged position. If you feel quite tight when you sit in a cross-legged position, again, you can use a yoga block, books, or a cushion to sit on so it sits perfectly under your sit bones. This is also a great way to slowly open up your hips. And that's fine to use props. It doesn't mean that you're not good at yoga or you're inflexible. Some days will feel tighter and tense than other days. Be kind to your body and follow its rhythm for what it feels on certain days. And from here, we will close off this stretch with Ujjayi breathing technique, which means ocean's breath, where you inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose, and you bring a lot of restriction to your throat as you warm the throat with your breath. Imagine gardening or using a water hose to water a garden. When you place your thumb on the tip of the hose, the water will not be able to spray out. It will spray out because you're holding the tip of the hose. Same goes with the air. So I'll explain what it looks like without closing my mouth, and it feels like you're fogging up a mirror or eyeglasses. So inhale through the nose, exhale. So when your mouth is closed, it would sound like this. So the purpose of Ujjayi's ocean's breath is that it's an inactive breathing technique which helps with blood circulation and waking up your body and bringing calmness to your mind and body. When you hold in a lot of stress and tension, or you're not able to express yourself, or you're feeling tense, practice this breath and you feel a whole lot better. Thank you for joining today's yoga sequence on hip opening stretches, and I look forward to guiding more sequences and sharing more about different asana pose practices on Mondays. Thank you. Namaste.